Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with MOVIEMAKER Magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Cambridge Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood, and I'm here with writer-director Carl Schefferman with his movie Looking for the Jackalope. Let's take a look at a clip.
Okay, Jordan. This is your chance. Everything you've been through in the last 24 hours has led you to this very moment. Don't fuck it up.
Carl, it's a pleasure to have you here in the studio, and thank you so much for sharing your amazing film.
My pleasure.
For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
It's a cautionary tale about a disenchanted New York writer who gets a surprise phone call from his old college girlfriend inviting him to their college reunion. And he had hitchhiked with her 20 years before from college to New York. So he decides to go, and he misses his plane and embarks on a cathartic hitchhiking journey to his reunion. And once he's there, he makes an attempt to reunite and rekindle his romance with his old girlfriend. Only to meet his own worst demon in the form of a talking jackalope who teaches him a powerful lesson about living in the past.
Where did the inspiration come for you for making this particular film?
It was quite autobiographical. It's a story I had for many years. I actually did hitchhike after graduation from Kenyon College to New York with a girlfriend. And then returning to a reunion, I tried to hitchhike back after I actually missed my plane and had this ridiculous misadventure, and finally got there and had my reunion. But I basically took those stories and a bunch of characters that are real in my life, multiple girlfriends, not to brag, but a few different characters and friends, and mushed them together into one character. And highly embellished, raised the stakes to protect the innocent. And there may be some people out there that recognize some of the story. Maybe not.
That's okay.
But it took me a long time to get this kind of story that was in my head out and into bringing in other characters to dramatize what's going on with the main character. So it took a while to write the script, put it on the shelf for a while, and then my wife, I was talking to her about it, and she said, "Why don't you make this thing?" And I decided maybe I should stop talking about it and just make the movie. Yeah,
and you did, and I'm so pleased that you did.
Thank you.
You had a terrific cast. Like, I almost couldn't imagine anybody else playing those parts. Like, it was just, they were just so on it for every single emotion. And obviously, particularly the lead has to go through an incredible amount of emotions and distress and excitement and everything else. And already his character's going through a lot anyway. How did you come about bringing that cast together? Because they just work so well.
I had sort of a type in mind for Jordan, the main character. And I just happened to run into Michael Lydon Campbell, my lead actor, in New York in a Starbucks, and I'm plugging Starbucks now, right near my apartment. Then Michael, I needed a good Dr. Jim, his best buddy in the movie, and Michael recruited Larry Clark, who's a great LA veteran actor, nice long IMDb list, and then I found the lead female character in New York through an actors group. And then the rest of the film primarily was local Ohio actors, where I shot a good portion of the film.
We've had so many films in the last 10 years of, in feature films, and I don't think I've ever seen so many locations in an independent film, ever. And not just locations, but just the most, from, hospitals to diners to, it was just so many. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is really amazing. So how was that journey for you, trying to scout these places? Did you have places in mind prior, or how did that work?
So I had to figure out where do I make the cutoff. Do we shoot a little bit in New Jersey? When do we cut to Ohio, even though maybe it's supposed to be New Jersey? I had a wonderful producer from also Mount Vernon, Ohio, near Kenyon College, Matt Starr, who has his own video company and was basically sort of county mayor, if you will, of Knox County, and knew the sheriff's department, which came in very handy for the road stuff, the highway patrolman, knew the locations, knew where to get me 18-wheeler trucks to drive back and forth numerous times, pulled together amazing locations, knew the churches, knew the diners.
Because there were so many.
Without him, I could not have made the film.
What do you think it is about that we love so much about seeing these films that go on these epic journeys? Because we just get so enthralled in the characters and everything else, but it really is something really joyful to watch, isn't it? To sort of watch people go through that.
I think that is a metaphor for the human experience. I mean, that is life. Life can literally have chapters. Life has 3 acts, as far as I'm concerned, just like a screenplay. Life takes you on a journey, and you meet all different people in different parts of your life. I mean, look at the Odyssey by Homer. It is the model journey film, or journey story, and you can't help making a journey film without some reference to the Odyssey, and sure enough there is the one character reading the book on the train, the girl. And it's, for me, that's the human experience.
Absolutely. I think
and I like the films I like to make are fictional realities. I like to create a world. Joseph Campbell wrote the great book The Hero's Journey, which talks about this kind of world, the world of story. And I like that kind of journey of a hero, whether he's super powerful or vulnerable and victimized. It's still a hero.
What would you, I mean, this is a big question when you're making an independent feature film, but what was your biggest challenge in making it?
Without a doubt, raising the money.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And breaking that inertia of sitting there with a script in your lap. We write scripts, we think we're going to get to a studio or to some big actor, star or something, and basically get the green light and get the funding. But for most of us, it doesn't work that way. And so you write a film, hopefully that's doable, which I would say mine was marginal for the budget I had. Francis Ford Coppola once said, "Start shooting and they will come." So I was like, I'm not sitting here with a script waiting on $200,000 or $250 or whatever it is I need to include the marketing budget and all that. I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to raise a little money, 50 grand, crowdfunding, shoot all the stuff in New York, and then shut down, raise some more money, maybe try to get a couple of small investors, do another crowdfunding campaign, which that is the most torturous process.
Goodness, I know, it's horrible.
I know of. You're basically annoying all your friends, family, and associates for many months. And,
it's hard, isn't it?
It's really tough because you're asking people to give you money.
But the greatness is that you made it anyway.
I did.
And that's wonderful. What's it like? I mean, you said you never started to be a writer. It's also your personal story. You ended up making it. What is it nice to, on the other side of the country, to be recognized by New Filmmakers LA and have your film selected? What's that feeling like when your film has been selected and what is that like?
It's the pat on the back we all need. I mean, it's tough out there, and you obviously want to get into Sundance or Cannes or whatever, but being realistic, a little film like this with no major stars, there's plenty of other festivals out there, and festivals that work really, really hard for you, like this one. And you just got to keep putting it out there and putting it out there, and when you get a bite, you go with it. It's a great thrill, and obviously LA is full of industry folks, and you hope you get some agent attention, or maybe a directing gig or something. That's all.
You certainly deserve. I want to see much more of your work. What is next for the film? What is next? Are we going to be seeing it soon, or is there?
Well, I have quite a few more festivals that I'm waiting to hear from. I mean, I've had rejections. You know, you get rejected, but there's still some more out there. But I actually already have talked to an independent distributor. I guess they're called an aggregate distributor, and that's basically the place where most of these kind of films are going to end up is on VOD, on Hulu, on Amazon, on Netflix is always nice. Yes, maybe a four-wall theatrical release would be nice, and actually this company does that for a small price. And they said with that you get a review from LA Times and all that.
Fantastic.
But you know, I would say a few more festivals, and then hopefully, you know, by the end of the summer I'll have it online, and then I'm going to be heavily social, you know, promoting on social media, so I can, you know, make a little money back. I'm not going to make a lot of money, but
well, marketing is everything, as you can see on the T-shirt. There you go. Go and is there a website we can kind of keep up to date?
There is.
Yes.
The website is www.lookingforthejackalope.com. It's got all sorts of stuff about the film. My wife actually created the website.
Well, thank you,
Ellen.
Thank you, Ellen.
And it's got everything. It's got the backstory, the synopsis. It's got a little silly video of the making of that I shot on my iPhone. I didn't have a budget to hire what do you call it? EPK?
EPK,
Yeah. So I shot stuff on my cell phone and edited that together.
Brilliant.
And a trailer.
Well, you made it, and honestly, I think it's one of the biggest and most amazing things when you can make a feature and an independent feature and create what you've done. And I really want the world to see the film because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming in from New York.
I actually would
too.
like to add a little.
Of course,
background.
please do.
I did the film school route. I went to NYU grad film school, and I made a very good short film back in the 90s. And I came out here and, you know, I screened it for the DGA because it was an award-winning film. And I took a lot of meetings, but I was very young, and I didn't have my next project. That's all changed now, and I'm back. But in the interim, I made some short films, but my best training really was working as a storyboard artist professionally for some of the best directors in the world. Jonathan Demme, rest in peace, was actually my first break was on Silence of the Lambs doing storyboards for Jonathan Demme.
That tiny Oscar-winning film.
Yes, and then Francis Coppola hired me to do some conceptual illustrations for a movie he was working on. Ridley Scott, Martin Scorsese. So
I'm just like, what?
I'm dropping.
What are these names? I'm like, this is crazy.
I'm dropping
it's
names,
no,
but
it's
you know,
fantastic.
these are all my idols, and
It's brilliant.
It's been the best training, better than film school. And you know, now is my time, and I'm not going to give up until I die. So.
Well, you've learned from the best, and I think that's really truly wondrous advice. You know, given your journey and what you just experienced and what you said, you know, what one piece of advice would you give out to filmmakers out there that are just, you know, either wanting, pursuing?
I would say the most important thing is come up with some stories. Know what you want to make films about and start writing those down. Whether you work with a writer or you find a script that's like that or you write it yourself, you've got to have material. You can also obviously work in the industry if you have a trade like I did, storyboards, but they're going to want you to do that and not necessarily hear about how you want to be a director. So work on those stories, shoot some little films. You don't have to go to film school. You just need a bunch of good friends and you know, get some favors and start making films. And assess whether you're good or not. I mean, it sounds silly, but if you know, it's a combination of really having some talent, being good, and wanting it so bad that you will not stop.
So that's amazing advice. I'm going to go off on my day and take that myself.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Carl. It's a pleasure. Thank you so
you.
much for your film, and we're so looking forward to seeing it being released and seeing much more of your work as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl.
Appreciate it.